Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? My name is Brandy Collinborn, and I am the owner and artisan behind Brushed by Brandy. And today I'm here live on the Country Sampler Farmhouse page. They've invited some of us on from Dixie Belle Paint Company, and we're going to be talking today about updating your furniture in your home using Dixie Belle paint. So like I said, my name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. If you guys come on, please let me know where you're watching from. Let me know you can hear me and see me okay. Oh good, I see some people popping on. So I am a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint Company, and they have a team of us coming on this week to talk to you a little bit about how to update things in your home, give them a fresh look, and teach you a little bit about using this product to do that. So thank you to Country Sampler Farmhouse for having us on this week, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today. So the piece that I'm working on here, this is a beautiful French provincial dresser, and how many of us have pieces like this in our home? I know I had one of these sets when I was, a young kid growing up. We all had the same French provincial dresser set in our room. And this was an old, outdated wood, but it's a beautiful solid wood piece. And so I'm going to be giving it a makeover. And let me show you what I'm using for inspiration for a makeover. So this is what's called a decor transfer, and these are made by Redesign with Prima. So this is essentially a large scale floral that once I'm done painting my piece, I will be able to add to the front. And you can kind of see by me showing you this, the color inspiration that I'm pulling out of here, which is the pink and coral colors. So that's where we're pulling our color inspiration from. So we can think about that as I'm going through working on this piece, the colors that I'm choosing. So Dixie Belle paint comes in 64 plus colors. Hi Victoria, how are you? And the colors that we're pulling out today are some pinks and corals. So this is kind of the range that we're going to be working in today. You can see right there, those are the colors that we just saw in that decor transfer that I'm going to be putting on. So let's go ahead and get started. The colors I'm going to be starting with are Dixie Belle in soft pink and then in apricot. Now not only do you have 64 colors to work with in the Dixie Belle line, but you also can take these colors and mix them to create custom colors. So what I'm looking for, hi Natalia, what I'm looking for is kind of a mix in between these two. So if you go to the Dixie Belle color line and you notice that there's a color that you want that's kind of in between, you can really create any mix of custom colors with them too. Hi you guys, thank you for popping on. Let me know where you guys are watching from, please. So Dixie Belle is a water-based chalk mineral paint, and it has binders in it that are perfect for painting onto furniture. You really need minimal preparation. So all I've done to this piece before getting started with you guys today, I'm sweating here in California. I'm in California, you guys, and it is warm here today. I have a fan on behind me. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. So what I'm going to be doing is I take a little bowl like this, and I have a bad habit with mixing is I don't usually measure my colors, but you can, and that's a good idea if you ever think you might want to repeat that color. But I'm going to pour a little dollop of my apricot into this bowl, and then I'm going to take and pour the same amount of my Dixie Belle soft pink into this bowl. You guys, Dixie Belle has a team of us. We are called brand ambassadors, and we come on, we paint live on their Facebook page every week, every day of the week in fact. And there's a team of us that come on, and not only do you have a great paint to use, but we also come on and teach you how to use it. And I love a brand that not only gives you the products to use, but also gives you the tools to learn how to use them. So I mix those two colors together just in a little plastic bowl, and I'm creating a custom color, which is a mix of the apricot and the soft pink. So it kind of makes this light peachy pink color. The apricot was a little too orange, the pink was a little too pink. So now I'm able to land somewhere in between there, and that's going to be my custom color today. And I can name it, I'm going to name this Peaches and Cream, because this is my custom color that I just mixed. And I just use a little, this is a little mini kitchen spatula from the kitchen department, and I just use that to mix my colors together. So all I did to prepare this piece for paint, it was in really good condition. So all it needed was a good cleaning, and Dixie Belle makes a cleaning product that's called White Lightning. It's a granulated product that you can dissolve into a spray bottle of water, and then you can use that to clean your piece really well. And then I rinsed away any cleaning residue that might have been on there just with a spray of water. I laid on one single coat of the paint, and that's where I am so far. I have one coat of this, and it's this custom color that I just mixed, which is 50-50 soft pink and apricot, peaches and cream. So I'm going to move you guys in here so my camera will stop refocusing. There we go. And we'll start working on this top drawer here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So I'm going to take, this is the Dixie Belle finishing pad, and it's a little sanding sponge that is the perfect grit. I like to sand in between my coats of paint, and that just gives it that very smooth finish. I apologize for that. My camera keeps refocusing. It just gives it that very smooth finish in between coats of paint. So I'm going to take this and just lightly, I don't even call it sanding, I just call it brushing my piece. So I'm just going to brush this piece, just to give me a nice smooth surface. This gets rid of any of those particles of dust that might have settled into your paint finish. And then I will take a damp rag and I'm just going to wipe away that little bit of sanding dust I just created. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing today is, this is a beautiful paint color, and by all means this would be a beautiful finish if you just wanted to do 2 coats of this color and then apply that transfer. That would be a beautiful finish, but I'm going to take it up a notch, and I'm going to add a little bit of interest with this with some shading. So I'm going to use shading with paint, and to do that I'm going to be taking some complementary colors to the color we just mixed, which is this peaches and cream color, and one of them is flamingo, and then the other color I think I'm going to use is pink champagne. Pink champagne is a very, very light blush color, and then flamingo is this nice rich coral color. So my plan is I'm going to use this custom color we just mixed, which is I'm going to call peaches and cream. So I'm going to use this as my middle color, my dominant color, and then I'm going to add some, ladies, if you get your hair done, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? Peaches and cream, yeah, it's a great name. I'm going to add some highlights, which is lighter shades in this pink champagne, and then I'm going to add low lights in the flamingo. And then in the middle we will have some of our custom color mix. You guys, if you're enjoying this video, please go on and let your friends know by telling them about it on your pages. We always appreciate that. I apologize, I forgot my water bottle mister. Okay. So what I have out here today is I have a variety of Dixie Belle paintbrushes. So Dixie Belle is a one-stop shop for everything you need to create a painted look on your furniture. So yeah, of course, figures I would. So I'm going to be starting out with my Dixie Belle paintbrushes. This is called the Mini, and this is a great universal brush. It's great if you're just starting out and you want to give this a try. It really lays on a nice smooth finish. Dixie Belle has made these specifically for working with their paint finishes. So I've got out a variety of their brushes. I generally like to use one for each color that I'm working with, and so today I plan on using 3 colors. So I actually have about 4 brushes just in case. It's always better to have more, right? Thank you, Lynn. And then I have out my Dixie Belle Oval Medium. And I love this brush because once I lay the colors on, I'm going to blur out the lines on those so it really just looks like a shading. You can't tell where one color stops and the next starts. So we're going to focus on this top drawer here. I'm going to take my water bottle, and this is a hairstylist mister. And I like the misters because they just lay on a really thin layer of water versus a regular spray bottle that might concentrate it in areas and then will give you heavier sized droplets. So I'm going to lightly mist my surface with a little bit of water, and this just helps that paint glide on a little bit smoother. And then I'm going to dip my Dixie Belle brush into my peaches and cream custom color mix, and I'm just going to lay on a fresh coat of this. And you can see how smoothly it glides on. So I already have a base of the same color underneath, but I'm going to lay this on so I have wet paint to work with. So I have a Facebook page. My page is called Brushed by Brandy. If this interests you at all, I do a lot of live painting videos for Dixie Belle Paint. I also have a YouTube channel with several tutorials in there. So if you're interested in giving this a try, you have a lot of places you can go to look for information on how you can do this to your own furniture at home. I'm also here today while I'm on live. Please come on and pop on and ask me any questions you have about the paint line or anything you might be curious about. I've posted my affiliate link above. If you're interested in giving these paints a try, you can order them through there. And then Dixie Belle also carries a variety of these transfers. I showed you this in the very beginning. So this is basically a large decal that I'm going to be putting on the front of this, and this is where we're pulling our color inspiration from. Hi Karen, hi Katie. How do you keep your brushes so clean? So that's a great idea. Brush care is really important. If you're going to invest in a really good quality brush, I will rinse my brushes out in running water, and I rinse them until they run clean, and then I will take my brush and I just set it in a shallow dish of water. And I let any paint run out of my brush, and that's all I use. Occasionally, like I just found some over there that I let some paint dry on. And those, I'm going to go ahead and soak in that Dixie Belle White Lightning Cleaner. And they'll need a little more intense care. So now I'm going to open my pink champagne, which is our lighter color. We're working in 3 color tones, a light, a medium, and a dark. I'm going to open this brand new container of beautiful paint. And this is going to be what I create a highlight with. So I'm just going to lay this on in the center of my piece right here. I'm using a fresh brush. And you can see I just kind of created a stripe, but I don't want a stripe. I don't want this to be stripey looking at all. So I'm going to continue to work it in just by brushing it in to that peaches and cream color. And that peaches and cream is a custom color that we just mixed. And I'm naming it because it's my custom color. And just by brushing it in ever so lightly into that surrounding color, I now have this beautiful, nice highlight on my drawer. And it just makes it look like the light is shining on this piece. It's hit it a little bit differently. I will brush it vertically just to pull those colors into each other. And then I'm going to come back and correct that with a horizontal brush stroke. So my brush strokes are all going in one nice, clean direction. Gives me a nice, smooth finish. And the end result, you can't tell right now. You're getting a little bit of glare because I do have wet paint on there. But the end result is going to be just a highlight in the center of that drawer where it looks like, you know, the light is hitting it a little bit differently. Where can I find those transfers? So this transfer here is called Rose Celebration. Now this one is so popular that it is sold out right now, even through the manufacturer. It will be available again at the end of this month, but it's a beautiful transfer. I, by some random chance, had one in my collection. But there's a whole line of those transfers, and Dixie Belle carries them on their website. So you can go to dixiebellepaint.com, and you can click on the redesign with Prima section, and it will show you all of the transfers that they have available. And they come in a variety of colors and patterns, designs. They have you know, designs that are more steampunk, and this is a floral. There's a lot of florals, a lot of scripts, really pretty designs. You can use white lightning on brushes. I use my white lightning on brushes. I will just soak them. If I've left them out to dry too long, I will just soak the tips in a little bit of white lightning and then use a brush comb and brush that out. You can also soak them in fabric softener works. Hair conditioner is also something you can try. I love that transfer too. The Rose Celebration transfer is gorgeous. So this color right here I'm going to dip into. This is the Flamingo, which is this great coral. I mean, it's gorgeous, you guys. I love this color. And if you're too intimidated to use it on its own, it's a great low light for these colors we're using today. So my paint is still semi-wet and workable. I haven't added any water to it since our first spritz. And I'm just going to kind of add this Flamingo color around the very edges of my piece. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with that pink champagne color, and I'm going to work this in. This is going to be our low light color. So I'm brushing it in. I'm not trying to keep these lines of definition. I'm going to move you guys in a little bit closer so you can really see how the paint works together. So I really haven't added anything into it, but I'm able to just softly brush these through. I am using a new brush for my flamingo paint, and I just worked that into that outer edge. Let's keep working it across this drawer. This is Dixie Belle paint. Dixie Belle is a chalk mineral paint. It is a water-based paint. So you'll see today I'm using water to keep my paint wet and workable. And that's because it's a water-based paint, so it's very friendly to water. So like right now I can feel my paint is getting a little dry. It's starting to stick, and I don't want that. I want to keep it wet because we're still working it. So Dixie Belle is a water-based chalk mineral paint. It is made specifically for painting on furniture and things of that sort. But you can use it on a variety of projects. And I am a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint Company. They have a team of us that are here to help you learn how to use the paint. We paint live on their Facebook page regularly. So that flamingo just added kind of a beautiful outline. And if I want to keep working this in, because if I don't want this definitive line here, I can pull that paint down into my lighter color with a vertical brush stroke, and then I can come back and brush it horizontally, and it will blur that out even more. So my theory on blending paint is I should not be able to tell where one color stops and the next begins. So I've got a really smooth gradation from the darker color into my lightest color here, with that medium tone in between. I start with the medium color when I'm blending paint because the medium color is kind of universal. It is friendly to everything. It can be blended into the light, it can be blended into the dark. That medium color really is it's friendly to everyone. So now I'm going to come back with my original color, which was that peaches and cream, and I'm just going to work this in a little bit more. Because I really want those transitions to disappear. I really just want that to appear like the light is just hitting it a little bit differently, like a little bit of shadowing, but it just frames my drawer very softly. And it just took that paint finish up a notch from what was an otherwise beautiful, single color finish. And now we've used 3 colors to just create some more depth in the look. So I'm just feathering the paint into each other. I'm just using my a fairly dry brush and a very soft hand, and I'm just feathering those colors into each other. Let's deepen up that this low light down at the bottom here with a little more of that flamingo paint. I'm just tipping my brush. There's barely any paint on there. It doesn't take a lot. Will you have to seal it with a clear coat at the end? That's a great question, Karen. Dixie Belle paint does have a built-in top coat, so you don't have to. If you like that matte chalky finish that chalk paint comes with, then you can, by all means, you can leave your Dixie Belle paint unsealed, and it does have a built-in top coat. However, if you would like to add a little bit more protection, you can add either a coat of wax over this or a clear coat, and Dixie Belle has both in their line. I will seal this with a clear coat when I'm done. And that's because I am doing this piece actually for a customer. And I like to send my customers home with the assurance that they can wipe their piece down, that they will be very low maintenance. But by all means, it does have a built-in top coat, so you can choose the finish that you would like on your finished piece. So I love this look. I'm going to leave this drawer, and let's drop down. I do need to get that other side over there. So why don't I'm going to roll my stool over to that other side, and we will work this edge of the drawer. I want to do that while my paint is still wet so that I don't have it dry with one of my sides unfinished. So Dixie Belle paint not only has that built-in top coat, but it's also a self-leveling paint, which is a beautiful quality. Because if you do end up with some of those very soft brush strokes, it will self-level as it's drying to give you a nice smooth finish. Not every paint has that. It is a very low odor, no VOC paint that you can use indoors. It's safe around children and pets. And they have a really complete line. So if you go to the website, dixiebellepaint.com, it's carried by a variety of retailers throughout the country, where you can input your zip code on their website, and it will tell you where you can go locally if you'd like to see the colors in person, talk a little bit about the product with someone who's selling it. You can visit a local retailer. You can also order it online, and I've provided a link above in the post. They have a team of us brand ambassadors that are coming on this week to teach you a little bit how to use the paint. So I'm going to take this clean dry brush. This was our oval medium that I talked about at the beginning, and I'm just going to continue. I want to blur these lines out. I really don't want to see, and in person I think it looks a little bit softer than it does on the camera. I'm kind of using that as a mirror, but I love this basic outline that I've got here. It just added a little bit of softness around the edge of the drawers. So I'm going to go ahead and push this one in, and we're going to work on this drawer right underneath here. So same as I did on that first drawer, I'm going to lay on a thin coat of water. This I'm using a hairstylist mister. I'm just going to spritz my surface with a little bit of water. And then I'm going to lay on a coat of our medium color, and this was the color we mixed in the beginning. I used Dixie Belle Apricot and Soft Pink. You cannot only use the 64 colors that Dixie Belle has in their line, but you can also mix any of the colors together to create custom color mixes. A little bit more water because I just want to lay on a thin coat of this. This just gives me a wet coat of paint to be able to blend those colors into. You'll notice the coat that I'm laying on is a little bit lighter than my finished result, so it's going to dry a little bit darker than the color you're seeing going on. And that's great because that will help it blend into that flamingo. And then that flamingo really pulled in those coral colors that were in the transfer that I showed you. Dixie Belle also carries those transfers on their website. Those are by Redesign with Prima. And they're a beautiful product to take your piece and just add that extra detail that really makes it a custom piece of furniture. So my personal philosophy on furniture is that, you know, the things in your home should be a reflection of your personality, and especially your furniture. These are some of the largest things we have in our home. And I think when you look at your furniture, it should genuinely be something that you love, something that evokes emotion. What happens if you use too much water? Okay, so if you use too much water, it can start getting drippy. You don't want drips on your furniture piece. So if you start noticing drips, I would absolutely make sure you brush those into your paint coat right away, as soon as you notice them. Yeah, you can add more paint. Yeah, brush them into your paint. Dixie Belle is very friendly to water. It is a water-based paint, so too much water is not a problem. Try to address it while your paint is still wet, but if not, then you can absolutely come back and add more paint. So I'm doing the same thing I did on this top drawer, where I laid on a coat of that medium paint color, which we called Peaches and Cream. That was a custom mix of 2 Dixie Belle colors. And then now I'm coming back with a highlight of pink champagne, and I just kind of brushed that on in a stripe down the center here. And now I'm working it into that medium color. And I can come back and brush it vertically, and that just pulls the paint colors into each other. So this technique just takes that single color paint finish and just steps it up a notch to give you a little bit more detail by adding highlights and lowlights to your paint. It's a little more decorative finish. Man, that is frustrating. I do not know why my camera keeps trying to refocus. Let's see if that helps. Yes, you can add glazes to make it darker. Glaze is a thin coat. It comes in dark colors. They have pearlescent glazes, and you can put it right over the top of this, and it will darken your paint. You can blend in a darker color of paint if you want to do it using paint. They also have dark waxes, and you can seal it with a dark wax. I do recommend before you're putting anything darker over your paint that you seal it first with a coat of clear wax or clear coat. And what that does is it gives you control, seals your paint off, and it gives you control so that you can wipe back that darker finish as much or as little as you like without affecting your paint finish. So now I'm brushing on this little bit of low light here. And this is the flamingo. I'm not taking the drawers off today for a couple reasons, for two reasons. Number one, I'm painting on camera, and so this dresser is essentially holding these drawers for me so you guys can see them better. And number two, because I'm blending over the front of my drawers, I want to make sure that I get an even consistent finish over the fronts. So I'm going to take this drawer out here so you can see something. When I did my base coat of paint, you'll notice I painted all around the insides of my piece here, all around the frame, and all around my drawer sides as well. So I leave them in to get a nice blended finish over the front of my piece that's consistent throughout. But then before my paint dries, I will take all these drawers out and I will touch up around the edges and make sure those are finished too. So yeah, you absolutely want to pay attention to the insides of your piece as well. But today for painting on camera for us, having it inside the dresser is much easier. So you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I've got my flamingo on. I'm going to take my nice clean dry brush. And I keep this brush clean and dry, and I'm using my apron as a rag today, but I will continuously wipe this off as it starts getting paint on it, because I really like the clean dry brush for just feathering out these transitions into one another. These brushes have a really soft bristle on them, so it's perfect for just kind of feathering these colors into each other. With a super soft hand, I'm able to just kind of blur out those transitions. Let me see if I turn my light down a little bit. Yeah, that helps some. So you can see how softly these colors transition into one another. So my paint is still nice and wet and workable. Over here, as I continue to move across, I can add a little bit more water. And this Mr. Spray bottle just lays on the perfect light coat of water. Now I'm coming back with my brush for my peaches and cream color. And I'm going to continue to add that flamingo low light around the edges. Let's come over here and do this side. I'm using barely any of this paint. So Dixie Belle comes in 3 sizes. You can get an 8-ounce paint, which is their smallest jar. I'm using the 16-ounce of paint here. An 8-ounce of Dixie Belle paint will go a long way. A little bit goes a long way. I will get usually 3 or 4 dresser projects out of one of these 16-ounce paints. So I'm using very little of this flamingo paint to give me this low light look. Just tipping my brush in it, and then I will get several more projects out of this same jar of paint. So that's really important to know, that a little bit goes a long way. You'll look at one of the small 8-ounce jars of paint and think, oh, what am I going to do with that? And then you'll be shocked at how much you get out of one jar of paint. So I brought it up a little bit out the bottom. I'm just working those soft colors into each other. I'll take my clean dry brush again. I'm just working in small sections while my paint is still wet. And I'm just going to feather these colors out into each other. So I almost am using this clean dry brush as like a feather duster, where I just dust away the lines in between the colors. You can see up here, this one is getting dry, and those colors are beautifully smooth transitioned into each other. So now I'm going to come over to this end over here, and we will work this other side too. So I usually just will focus on one drawer at a time. You don't want to get overwhelmed thinking about your entire piece. Really just focus on one drawer at a time. So I added a little bit more water, just because this has had some time to dry over here. Because this is a water-based paint, I can add water and keep it workable. So this is a great way. A lot of people have these pieces in their own home and you love the piece and it's great quality furniture and you just want to update it and to suit the decor of your home a little bit better. And this is a great way that you can truly create custom finishes on a piece of furniture. Dixie Belle paint is very user-friendly, very beginner-friendly. Okay, so that's beautiful. And I just like I did on those other drawers, I just kind of feathered those transitions into each other. So if you want to see what this piece is going to look like when it's completed, I have a Facebook page called Brushed by Brandy, and I will post this to my Facebook page when it's completed. Will probably be sometime around this weekend. I will get this piece done and you'll be able to see how this technique looks on a finished piece of furniture. So I showed you guys this in the beginning, but this is where we're pulling our color inspiration from. Can you see how that flamingo low light just really pulled in the colors, the rich corals and pinks out of this transfer here? So we've got a little bit of all of the colors that we're using here. So this comes in 6 colors, or 6 different pieces, I'm sorry. So once I'm done with my paint finish, I will take these and I'm going to map them out on the front of my piece. And then this comes with a rubbing stick where I can just rub this onto my front of my piece. I want to make sure that I do this on top of dry paint before I put any top coat on it. And that's just going to add this large scale floral pattern to the front of my dresser. Okay, so we've done 2 drawers so far. What do you guys think? This transfer is called Rose Celebration, and this is made by Redesign with Prima. Dixie Belle does carry the Redesign with Prima transfers on their website. I can tell you right now, you guys, this one is sold out even through the manufacturer right now, but it will be available at the end of the month if you guys want to give this one a try. It's a beautiful transfer. They have a whole new line of transfers coming out in about a week or so. So go follow Redesign with Prima as well and check out those new transfers. There's some great colors in there. You guys asked me about painting in between my drawers. So what I will do is I'm going to take these drawers out and we'll show you what I do to the frame of my piece. So while these are still wet, I want to make sure that I'm not painting my drawers shut. That's very, very, very important. If you get a bond between your piece and your drawers, it can be difficult to clean up. So now I'm going to come in here and I will just touch these up. This is my brush that I used for my flamingo. And because I've got the flamingo on the top of this drawer and the bottom of this drawer, I want to kind of make this match. Thank you, Victoria. Yes, flamingo is the name of this darkest paint color that I'm using. I'm using a total of 4 colors today. So the 4 colors that I'm using on this piece are Dixie Belle Pink Champagne, Soft Pink, Apricot, and Flamingo. And what we did is we mixed 2 of those colors together. We mixed the soft pink and the apricot to create a custom color. And then I'm using the Pink Champagne as a highlight and the Flamingo as a low light. So this is just 4 of the 64 Dixie Belle colors. You can mix them together to create any combination of colors. So I'm coming in here with my brush that has the flamingo on it, and I'm also adding some of these lowlights to the frame of my piece. And that's so it coordinates with those drawers that I just pulled out. I want to make sure I get all these edges underneath the drawer fronts. And I'm just working that paint in with a little bit of water. Very, very little paint. I've dipped my brush in the paint, I think 1 time. But very little paint, and that little bit of water just pulls the paint out of my brush. And then you'll see when I put this drawer back in, oops, this one goes down here. Now you'll see that the frame around my drawer matches with the color that's on the edge of my drawer as well. Are these available in the UK? Not right now. So right now Dixie Belle does ship to the US and Canada, There are also retailers throughout the country in US and Canada. If you want to go to the Dixie Belle Paint website and you can put in your zip code and look up a retailer near you, or you can also order online. And the retailers, you can go in and you can see the colors in person, you can talk to them about the products, they'll help you decide what you need for your project to get started. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. I'm also more than happy if you want to message me to help you figure out what you need for your project. So Dixie Belle is very, very, very user-friendly, and they do a really, really good job of putting the information out there to help you learn how to do this yourself. These do not have to be intimidating projects. Like I said, all I did before I did this, you can put this on top of an existing finish. So all I did before I started this technique you're seeing here today is I cleaned my piece really well and I laid on a solid single color base coat of paint. That was the extent of the preparation for this piece here. It was in really good condition. If you have any damage, you may want to sand that smooth just so you don't have uneven parts under your paint finish. But otherwise, this is something you can take and do to any piece in your home. All this week, we're going to be live on this Country Sampler Farmhouse page. And everybody's going to be showing you a little bit different ways to use the paint, techniques for using the paint. We all have different painting styles, so it's great to see some different styles, different techniques on how to use the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up these drawers. I'm going to get this transfer on. Like I said, if you don't already follow me, my name is Brushed by Brandy. I am on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I have a website at brushedbybrandy.com. My affiliate link is in the post above. If you're interested in ordering any of these paint colors, message me if you have any questions. Thank you, Lynn. I so much appreciate your support. It is not currently available in the UK, but hopefully someday it will be. So hang on there, and hopefully someday we can get the products to you as well. But if you're in the US and Canada, they do ship and have retailers throughout the countries. So I really appreciate, do I dry brush? You know, if you want to call dry brushing is just any technique that you're using a basically dry brush for. So you've seen throughout this process, I've been using my Dixie Belle Oval Medium and feathering these colors in together. So that could be considered a dry brushing technique. There are several different ways you can use a very dry brush to lay paint on for a decorative finish. This doesn't really have any moldings or anything you can highlight with a dry brush. But yes, it works beautifully with a dry brush, just working with the little bit of moisture that's in your paint. So I've appreciated Country Sampler Farmhouse for having us on this week and for having me. Go follow my page at Brushed by Brandy. Go check out the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook page if you'd like to see more of these live videos. But it's been a pleasure to be here today, and I can't wait to show you guys this finished piece. Thank you guys so much for having me. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.